And we have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. Now, I want you to remember, we're not going to make America great every time I bring you a news story. Now, this is bureaucracy. This is control. Because, you know, American people are too stupid to figure this out for themselves. So the government, with help from the dairy organizations, is going to change the labeling. It says, in Washington politics, bureaucrats and lobbyists have their way. Consumers of common non-dairy milks, such as almond milk and soy milk, may soon have to buy their products under obscure labeling, such as, are you ready for this? Because you aren't smart enough to know that soy milk, that somebody didn't stand there and milk a bean. So it's going to be called plant juice and tree nut beverage. My sidekick's laughing out loud in here. Yep. In another unfortunate instance of over-criminalization, after efforts to make it a crime to label non-dairy products as milk stalled in the Senate, the Food and Drug Administration may now be trying to do the same thing through regulatory means, what Congress has been unwilling or unable to do through legislation. Can you imagine that this is what they have time to take care of? Because, you know, you're not smart enough to figure it out on your own. We're too dumb. Remember, we were too smart. We were too smart to elect President Donald Trump, but we did it anyway, so maybe we are dumb, huh? According to the left and the liberals and the bureaucrats who need more money. It obviously gets down to money. It says, that's an utter shame, pun intended, especially for an administration otherwise committed to sensible deregulation. Come on, Donald Trump. Come on, President Trump. We know better than this. Last year, Senator Tammy Baldwin, a Democrat from Wisconsin, introduced the defending against imitations and replacements of yogurt, milk, and cheese to promote regular intake of Dairy Everyday Act, the Dairy Pride Act. Who do you think's pushing this? Who do you think's lobbying for this? That would make it a federal crime to use the term milk on the label of any beverage not derived from lacteal secretions obtained by the complete milking of one or more hooved animals. Well, there's no hoofs on a soybean, is there? Or an almond. The bill's main premise is that the plant-based products labeled as milk mislead the average American, I would think that would be a below average American, into thinking that it either comes from cows or has the same nutritional content as cow's milk. It's not enough that they have the nutritional label on there. Americans are too dumb to figure this out. Sure. It also suggests that American consumers cannot read and understand nutrition facts and labels and distinguish between goods derived from plants versus hooved animals. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Are you buying that? Well, changing consumer preferences provides another backstory. Let's look at that. Dairy milk consumption has slumped gradually since the 1970s and precipitously over the past 5 years, while almond milk sales have surged 250%. According to Hank Cardello, a senior fellow of the Hudson Institute, the dairy milk industry is in trouble because it has focused on cows instead of consumers. Oh, remember those gassy cows? But Big Dairy has also focused on lobbying in Washington. Go ahead, folks, you gotta follow the money. And since Congress creates new crimes like drunken sailors spend on shore leave, could it now be trying to criminalize the competition? Well, of course they are. Do you remember the story several years ago where the pork producers went after the feral hog farmer in Michigan. So much so that they forced him to kill all of his hogs. He had to shoot them all. Took away his living, his happiness, his pursuit of happiness, property, and prosperity. They took it away. Today, the U.S. Code contains a literal A to Y list of misbranding offenses. The Dairy Pride Act would, if enacted, complete that alphabet of horribles by adding a Section Z for non-dairy products labeled as milk. Misbranding foods is punishable with fines up to $1,000 and imprisonment up to 1 year, or $10,000 and 3 years, or both, if the government can prove that a defendant acted with intent to defraud and mislead consumers. And the FDA does define milk as lacteal secretion, practically free from colostrum, obtained by the complete milking of one or more healthy cows. Emphasis on healthy cows. It tries to protect the public, because we need to be protected from misleading labels by enforcement. Can be overzealous, though. Unless it's the label for the cool country of origin labeling. You don't need to know where that hamburger came from. Could have been a not so healthy cow from some other country. But you don't have the need to know that. And you know why you don't have the need to know that? Because somebody lobbied. And money talks. And so cool was repealed. And Senator Sass out of Nebraska was one of them who accepted that lie. But you know, you're not smart enough to realize they ain't milking that soybean. Or that almond. Remember, we're not going to make America great. We're not going to give the Americans any kind of freedom or truth in labeling. Come on. Soy milk. It's been soy milk for years. Children who were allergic to milk would have soy milk. The nutritional facts are there. The truth is on the label, but apparently you can't read it, so the big label has to be. What was it they were calling it? Plant juice and tree nut beverage. Yeah. It's a shame. Must be the public schools problem, because we ain't smart enough to figure that one out. Well, here's one for you. Now remember, we went through the bathroom issue, and Target got targeted by the American people who were fed up with this bathroom issue, because that's a family place to go and purchase items, stuff. Not free stuff, you got to buy it. But one dad got a little bit upset in a Target this weekend, or last week, I'm not sure when it happened. It's written on the 16th of August, so it was last week. A furious father, he caught a man taking upskirt videos of his teenage daughter at a Target store. And he acted quickly, and he jumped in the way of this man's video. Then when they were checking out, he saw the same man doing it again to another young woman. He gets down on his knees with his little cell phone, and he's taking a video up their skirts, as pervert. So this dad walks over there and he kicks the cell phone out of this guy's hand. And that guy goes running after his cell phone, and the man blocks him. The dad blocks him. Has a little tussle with him. Now, it's all caught on the security cameras in the store. So they know what this man's doing. Not only that, he'd already been to another Target store doing the same thing, and it was on the cameras there. Well, they followed this guy out to this car, and they got a picture of him, picture of his license plates, and I think they had his camera, and that's all they needed, and the police arrested him. Perverts. Perverts. You know, there's a man that I know. He said if they just let the brothers take care of these men that are beating up their wives and let the dads take care of these guys, Dad would stop. And I think he's not far from right. Not that I promote violence, but they need to be taught a lesson. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio, and remember, we're not going to make America great. That's part of this liberal policy with the bathrooms and the perverts, because they're normal. 877-895-5410 is the number to call, and we will be right back.